In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the exact credit cards I use to get over $100,000 in business credit as a new Amazon seller. Whether you're new or scaling your Amazon business, this is a must-use process and something that you need to know. This is going to be the exact process that I followed when I was first starting selling on Amazon back in the summer of 2022. So the first thing that we're going to need is you're going to need an LLC. And the reason for this is because you can't get any business cards if you don't have an LLC and an EIN number, which is basically the business's social security number. So right here, I just asked ChatGPT to give me a list of all of the different states and how to open an LLC in those states. And these are showing the name of the state, the filing fee, and then a link to where to go to open it up. Usually the Secretary of State, Arizona has a Corporations Commission, Delaware has a division of corporations, but if you just open up chatgpt.com, you can get this same list for free without getting an account or anything like that. Or you can just ask it specifically what state you want the links for, and it'll give you a step-by-step process on that. So I'm not going to go through how to do that because this video would be so long if I went through every single state. But we can see here the different costs and all that stuff. And just for proof of concept, this does bring you to the Iowa Department of State here. After you've gotten your articles of organization and proof that your company does exist, then you can come over to the irs.gov website. I just simply searched on Google, get EIN number, and this was the first non-sponsored results. A lot of sponsored results and different companies will try to charge you to get your EIN, and some will even try to charge you to get your LLC on top of your filing fee, but it is a really easy process. And if you have any questions, you can definitely either send me a message on Instagram or just use ChatGPT for that too, and it will tell you exactly what you need to do. But here, we can go scroll down here. It'll tell you how it all works, who can use it, what you need, and this button right here is going to be what you click on, apply for EIN. The only thing with this is they do have availability for this, kind of like regular business hours, but a little bit more extended. So you can only get your EIN on Monday to Friday. So if you're trying to do this on a Saturday or Sunday, this is not going to work, and it is going to show you this message here that it's currently unavailable. Because of that, you will have to kind of plan around that, or maybe wait a day or two depending on when you file your company. You can file for your company on the weekends, but just not the EIN number. Once you have those two things set up, you're going to need a business bank account also. I would recommend either American Express or Chase. Depending on which cards you want to get, you can go with those two banks or a different bank if you want to, but those just seem to be the easiest process for me, and those are the business bank accounts that I've had over the past couple of years. Moving on to the cards, it's going to depend what kind of card you want and what your goals are here. But this is the process that I followed to get over $100,000 in business credit as a new Amazon seller. And it kind of just depends on the route that you want to go, because there's two different situations here. So I first opened up this platinum card with American Express and the gold card with American Express. And those were the first two cards that I ever got. And the only downside to this for a new seller is going to be the annual fees on this card. It's not something that you have to pay the day that you get the card, but because of how these cards work, they are charge cards. You are going to have to either pay that off in full after your first statement closes or pay a little bit in interest. What was good when I opened up these cards is they had a promotion going on for 0% interest. So I didn't have to pay off the fee right away. And they currently don't have that promotion going on. You would see it in the front of the page, usually like right here if they do. So it's a little bit harder for a new seller possibly now, unless you have the money to pay this or you use this in replacement, because they do have a lot of benefits on this card that will give you a lot of stuff for free. So if you are currently using certain things that this card offers, then you may be able to make your money back. Like this, for example, hotel credit, $200 in credits per year. So that knocks the fee down to $495 if you use these kind of hotels, or maybe you have Adobe products or your phone bill. You get $120 back per year. So you can kind of add that stuff into the fee and pay the fee and use these benefits and just basically trade it off almost. Even the airline fee credit, bags, seats, those kind of things. If you're traveling, then you can do that as well in replacement of this fee, or you can just pay it all in full also. But the good thing about this card, like I said, they are charge cards. So that just means that you don't have a limit on the cards. Like if you open up a personal credit card, you might get a $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 limit on the card, and that's the maximum that you can spend. But with this card and the gold card, you don't have a limit. It's based on your payment history and all that. So it may start out a little bit smaller, but as you use the card and pay it off, it scales up a lot quicker than requesting a credit limit increase on normal cards. The same thing goes for this gold card. Exactly what I said about the platinum card. The only thing is the annual fee is about half as much. And this one does have a 0% interest promotion for the first 6 months. So that is an added bonus into this, and maybe a reason why you would want to start out with this card instead, because you have 6 months to pay off this $375 here. You could pay it monthly, just in little bits over 6 months, and save a lot of upfront money that way, while still opening up the amount that you can spend on product to make money a lot faster. Those are 2 cards that I would definitely recommend getting at some point in your selling career. Whether it's in the beginning or down the line, these will open up your ability to spend way quicker than using normal cards. The other one that's kind of like this, and they do have other cards also that are not charge cards. They are going to be different because this one does not have interest, or it does have interest. It doesn't have 0% interest. And if you don't pay it off in full, they are going to potentially lock your ability to spend until you pay it off. So you can filter by what you want here, whether it's no annual fee, a welcome offer, which would be usually 0%, or something along those lines, like earn 150,000 points if you spend a certain amount in a certain time period. But what I'm talking about here that I personally used at the beginning and I still use to this day is a Spark 2% cash back. They do have a pretty big spend bonus here where you get up to $4,000 when you spend $30,000, and then you get $2,000. And in order to get the second $2,000, you have to spend $500,000 in the first year, which is not going to really be realistic for a lot of new sellers. But this annual fee is a lot lower compared to the platinum and the gold card, and you still get the same ability to spend as much as you want, but you have to pay the balance off or they may stop your ability to spend. It doesn't mean that they're going to take the card away from you. It just means that you might get capped, and if you don't pay it off, then you're not going to be able to spend any money. The last one that is like that is another American Express card, and it's called the Plum card. The only thing with this is you get 60 days to pay back your statement. So instead of the normal 30-day or around that, depending on when your date closes and all that, you do get 60 days to pay without interest. But the only thing that goes with that is you don't get any rewards unless you pay it off within 10 days of your statement closing date. So around 40 days. If you pay it off within 40 days, you get 1.5% cash back. If you pay it off in 60 days, you get nothing. Annual fee also $200. So you are going to be paying to have these kind of cards. But you know the saying, you have to spend money to make money. And if you want to really scale and get this kind of ability to spend, you will have to put forward some money to be able to get that. Now with these cards, there is a way that you can kind of extend these dates without actually extending them. And I was taught this when I first started selling on Amazon, and I have used it since then when I don't have 0% cards. And it's basically just a formula for the dates. So if your statement ends, say on August 1st, just the first of next month, your payment date is usually going to be August 23rd. If you start spending the day after your statement closes, so August 2nd, your payment for that statement, which is going to end on September 1st, is going to be September 23rd. So if you have a couple of these cards and say one of them starts here and one of them starts halfway through the month, if you start spending on August 2nd, you have a month and then 23 days to pay that off. So you've basically just doubled your time period for how long you have to pay off your card. And if you were to spend on the day before the first of the month, you're only going to have 24 days to pay it off. Whereas you would have almost double that, if not more than that, if you started the day after your statement closes. And if you have multiple cards, put one at the beginning of the month, put one in the middle of the month, spend for the first 2 weeks on this card, and then the next 2 weeks of the month, spend on the other card. So that way you have kind of moved it to where it cycles back and forth, and it's a lot easier to manage your cash flow, especially because when you're newer, Amazon is going to hold your money for a little bit longer because you don't have much money going through there. They want to make sure refunds and stuff are covered, and that kind of thing can really slow down your ability to pay off your cards. So this is definitely something that everybody should implement if you don't have 0% credit cards. Since we're talking about 0% credit cards, I do have another video explaining this process in more detail, and these are some of the cards that I also use today. The only difference is these come with limits. So if you don't have much history with a certain bank or just business credit in general, they may start you out on a lower limit, which is why I recommend the charge cards for beginners if you can get them, because you don't want to get stuck with a $2,000-$3,000 limit when you're brand new and then not be able to get as much product as you need to or want to. But the difference with these is they're going to have 0% for 12 months, and you're not going to have to pay any interest, which means you don't have to pay off the entire balance. You can just meet minimum payments if you wanted to, which are a very small number compared to what your balance is. Something else to note is American Express does not check your personal credit score. They do a soft inquiry, not a hard inquiry, so you're not going to have that show up on your credit report and bring your score down if that is something that you're worried about. Capital One and Chase do pull hard inquiries, so that is going to show up, which is why American Express is one of my favorites to use for business credit cards. So you can apply with no impact and see if you're approved, see if you get the welcome offer, which you should, and before you actually apply and accept the card. After the 12 months, you are going to get an interest rate, but if you go watch the other video that I'll put up at the end of this video in the outro, it will explain to you how to cycle through these cards in a lot more detail every single year, so that way you never have to pay interest. There's a second one of these, just the only difference is this one gives you cash back, the other one gives you points. Same setup, 0%. You do have bonuses as well here if you spend a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time. Again, no impact to your personal credit score at all. The last ones are going to be Chase cards. This is also one of my favorite cards that I still use. $0 annual fee, just like the last two. You get $750, and this one does run a 0% interest promotion. They are going to give you a limit. They are going to run your credit as a hard inquiry, but this is another card that you can add into your cycle to where you can expand a lot quicker by having multiple cards. I wouldn't recommend just having one business credit card. You're going to have the process be a lot slower if you only have one card to use rather than multiples. The last one is this Inc. Business Premier card, which I also have used. The only difference with this one is they do have interest. You do get a bigger bonus. You do get a bigger limit on these ones, but you will have an annual fee also. Now, for just the purpose of understanding the 0% cards, just if you want to take a quick screenshot of this, this is explained in more detail in the other video like I was saying. You open up a 0% card, max it out, pay it off because you're going to have a limit, so you're going to need to expand the limit by requesting a credit limit increase. If they say no, repeat the process for 1 to 2 months and then do it again by paying it off in full after you max it out. Wait for the statement to close, so that way it registers in their system. If you do get approved, then open a second one. If you do the first blue one here and you do that process, you get it approved, open this one up. Once you get the other one, do the same process, then you ask for a credit limit reallocation. The thing with this is I usually wait until my 0% runs out on one card, then I ask for this, because what this is going to do is they're going to, as long as it's the same company, you can't do an American Express and a Chase card. It's just not possible. But if you have two American Express cards like these, which is what I do it with, I'll open one, max it out, request the limit increase, keep doing that cycle. And then once the 0% runs out, I'll open another one or a separate one, and I'll ask them to do this, and they're going to take my available credit from this card and move it over to this card. And that just means that I've saved myself from having to repeat this whole process for another year, because this limit is opened up to a huge number, to where I just moved it over, combined it with this one, and I got 0% again on the entire limit from the first one. So that is definitely a process that you guys should take and use, because it's helped me scale a lot quicker, especially when I was newer in the beginning, to where I was able to spend the amount of money that people in the game for a long time couldn't even spend, because they didn't follow this process. And I'd never heard anybody talk about this kind of process before, so that's why I wanted to share it in this video. If you guys have any questions about any of the process that I explained or any of the cards that I use, definitely leave a comment down below. There's also a link in the description for anybody looking to start or scale their Amazon business. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.